Hello, hello, everyone. Russell Wright from Network Empire and Domain Authority Stacking.com. I am with ThemeZoom Network Empire architect, military level architect Sue Bell, and former Department of Defense SEO Maven master Jimmy Kelly. And I got to say, if you hear the little quivering in my voice, it's not just because I've had 14 Doppio Espressos. It is because I'm looking at I've been looking for the last 2 days at the new one feed system that they've been putting together that enhances, refines, and just completely explodes the other versions that we had. I'd like to welcome all of you. I can see we have a lot of people jumping on. This is definitely going to be a full webinar. And I would like to thank all of you for your patience waiting for this webinar. It's taken some time to get this type of stuff together. And honestly, I don't have anything else to say because I want to jump right into the meat of this. Jimmy and Sue, thanks so much for being here. I know that you guys are up late preparing for this. I know that I was. And let's just go ahead and jump right in. Sue?
Oh, I'm just going to let Jimmy take it away. He's got all the tabs open.
On the floor, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. And oh, by the way, Jimmy, I just want to let everybody know that I am manning the questions window. I'll do my best to answer the questions as they come up. And of course, is this new process map going to be available to Domain Authority Stacking members, Sue?
Yes, I have the images, and I'll put them up in the members area right after the webby.
Looks like several people. Kevin Pauly says, tequila? Kevin, you hung out with us way too long. Okay. We have some people giving the Dr. Evil muahahaha. I think it's spelled technically M-U-A-H-A-H-A-H-A. A few of those. It's like Don is saying, hooyah, booyah. Joseph Hannon is saying, this is going to be amazing, going to kick ass. Some of the things I can't say, the exclamation marks are, yeah, a little bit intense. So anyway, with no further ado, guys, thanks for all your support. This is really super crazy, and go for it, Jimmy.
All right. Can you see my screen?
We can.
There we go. How's that?
That's great.
Okay. This is a little... You guys should all recognize this. This is the one feed system. It's a great way to try and get backlinks, but it's also great to get subscribers and readership and all that too. You know, it's all about broadcasting yourself. So, but you know, from my standpoint, I always like to come into it from a link building standpoint. So, just go through this.
Okay.
So, let's see if I can move this out of the way here. Okay. So, basically, I kind of went through this and was putting my own 2 cents into this. And I guess we should try and walk you guys through some of them for the system. I don't want to, you know, do every single feed for every channel and rinse and repeat. You guys should know how to log into accounts and things like that.
So let's ask guys how many are familiar with one feed. Guys, give me a 1 if you're familiar with one feed, 2 if you haven't heard about it before.
Great idea. That does help us. Oh, looks like Clinton hasn't been exposed. Stephen.
We get a couple people who don't know what a one feed is.
Can I go back to the beginning, Sue? Make it quick, or?
Please.
Actually, you go. Well, what happened is we had a hard time teaching people about the power of RSS. And does everybody know here what an RSS feed is? Give me a 1 if you know what an RSS feed is, and 2 if you do not. Let's go back to the beginning. So
all right.
when we first started having conversations with Jimmy at OMG Live 2000, what year is it again? 13.
13.
Yeah, this year is going to be even crazier. What we really like is the development of not just traffic, but also domain authority and the technical search engine rankings connected to RSS, when done properly, are profound. Why? Because RSS is an automated system. So when Jimmy started looking at RSS and looking at some of the systems we set up, he's coming from a very high-level perspective of domain authority stacking. So all of it, you know, his peanut butter, our chocolate, fireworks, boom, right? And so what happened is that we started having these conversations at OMG Live where he started vastly improving and correcting some of my concepts on the one feed system, and Sue Bell was already in the middle of enhancing and clarifying those because she does umpteen million things, programming 14 different softwares and running 15 companies and all this stuff. So as we began to put all this stuff together, Sue and Jimmy really jumped in to refine how domain authority could be improved. I would say, what, Sue, 5 times what we had with what you guys are invented now?
Easily.
It's actually kind of scary for me. I actually had to step back and say, all right, this is above my head. I have no qualms in saying that when these two get together. I can sit back and watch what's happening, but it takes me about a day or two to catch up. So that's what you guys are going to be seeing today. And if you don't understand what an RSS feed is, you don't understand what the one feed system is, I think maybe, Sue, you giving a technical insight into what that is?
Sure. So, so the idea behind one feed is that it gives you a way to take all of your feeds and braid them together and make more out of it. So that a feed is, obviously it's got like your last 10 blog posts on it. And the feed normally just sits there on your blog and nothing really happens to it. And so you can get creative and you can put it through things like FeedBurner, but you can install plugins like Samson, which takes your content and turns it into more feeds and distributes it more places. But we found all these really great places and great things that you could do with your feed that just helps that broadcast become very much more-ish, right? So, so that was why we developed the one feed. And in the image that Jimmy's got up, we take your feed, your blog feed, your YouTube feed, and what's the third feed? Oh, the G+ feed. And we go through a process. So that process is demonstrated here in this image. So all 3 of those go through basically the same process. It's just repeated, slight variation between them. So we're going to look specifically at the blog feed, and we're going to insert some additional stuff that Jimmy's come up with that adds even more domain authority, because what happens when you take your feed from your blog and you put it out to these places, you're getting inbound links. And so what he's going to show you is how you can stack more domain authority onto those inbound links, which is going to give your blog more oomph overall.
Fantastic. That's a perfect description. Thanks, Sue.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not firing on all cylinders today, so you have to bear with me.
What? It was only until 5 o'clock that
yeah,
we were doing
what?
these images.
I don't get it.
Okay, hopefully you guys can see the screen okay. So like when you're looking at this portion here, it's going to fit in, that part there is going to fit in right, you know what, let me bring up my Pointer software just so people can see. Just because I'm picky like that. I'm sorry. Very unorganized today. Okay. So, okay, it's going to fit in right here along this column. Okay, and these ones here are basically where you're going to start at on this map here, if this makes sense. So, it starts out with broadcasting channels, and really this can be anything. You know, I mean, anything you can grab a feed from, you can do this same promotion process all the way down the loop. So, and I'll actually walk you guys through some of these as we go along so you can see the process overall.
So, Jimmy, that means that technically it could be the WR1 or the WR2 where you do this entire meta stack.
Yeah, in fact, I would recommend doing this to, you know, any pin bid sites, you know, any of your WR2s. You know, it's just going to set that stuff on fire. And show you a cool trick that you can do also. I don't know how many people are familiar with this process. So, you know, if you know some of it, great. If not, you know, in for something. So.
Gotcha.
Anyways, oh yeah, you do. Don asked if it would be WR1. Yeah, you definitely do this on WR1 as well. So, especially where you're getting, you know, your personal blog going, and you got a frequency of publish that's quite often, you definitely want to just do this. I mean, me personally, I just do this to everything. Because it just enhances your links. But one thing I want you guys to remember going into this, you guys need to be careful with links in your article, like specifically keyword links. So, because you got to think, you know, if you go and on your blog post there's a link that says internet marketing, and then you start putting it out to all these, it doesn't happen on all of them, but a lot of them they do. all those links are still gonna go back to your money site because that link's inserted into the content portion of the feed. So be aware of your anchor text and stuff that you're doing on site, because you can easily over-optimize by doing something automated like this. So just something to keep in the back of your head while you're doing this. Okay, so you have your broadcasting channels. That's any feed you can get your hands on. And then we go to our generators. These generators specifically I picked because they're high DA, and they also create their own unique URL. So what that means is, let's say that I took the blog feed and I went out and put it into Yahoo Pipes. That gives me a unique URL string under Yahoo Pipes that then has all the links going on with the blog feed. And then likewise with these other generators, like feedag will also give you a unique string. So instead of Yahoo Pipes with the blog feed, it's going to end up being feedag. Okay? And then from there we run over to your aggregator 1. Your first level aggregator 1s, these are all high domain authority places where you can these don't generate a unique URL, but they're high DA and they'll boost, they'll just give you that extra stack of that DA, so, and those extra trust signals. So I always like to do that first. And then at the end, aggregators 2, you're going to end up going to twingly.com/ping and pingler, and then also RSS submit. So what this is doing is just kind of mass syndicating the feed. So it's just going to create tons of other ones. It's going to submit it to all these other ones. I don't know if you can actually get some of the URLs. I think you can on some of them. You'd have to do some custom search strings to get them. But the cool thing about this is Pingler also actually adds Facebook likes and tweets. So then your DA, for your stacking on your DA, that ends up being 100 at the end and helps index everything. So before we get into like other type links, let's just jump in and show you guys. You guys want to walk through some of these? Give a 1 if you want to walk through it.
Yeah, give us a 1 if you want Jimmy to walk you through it, or 2 if we should end the webinar now.
Okay.
Just mess with you.
All right, so let's jump over. And I've kind of already saved these feeds. These are the feeds for Network Empire. And on here I pulled the blog feed, and I also got the YouTube channel feeds. And then this one is an individual video feed right here. So it's still a feed, but it only does one video. So basically what it's going to do, I kind of think of this as like a sticky post. So if you have a video that you're really trying to promote, when you're mixing these into pipes, because the way the feeds work is every time you do a post in your general settings in a blog, I wonder if I should just log in. Well, I don't know if I have any. In your general settings in a blog, you could specify how many posts there are. I think you can go up to 20. And when you go out in your feeds, it's going to show that same 20. Or if you only do 5, it's going to show 5. Does that make sense? Do you guys know what setting I'm talking about in a blog? Give a 1 if you know which one I'm talking about. Okay. So that's going to determine how many posts are in your feed. It looks like most people understand that, so that's good. So basically what I like to do with that individual YouTube, so this is just an individual video. And so if I want to make it sticky, and you'll kind of see why I make some of these sticky when we go through the advanced iframe, 5 iframe punch, you can get a lot more juice, and that thing's not going to fall off the page, especially when you're mixing them through the Yahoo Pipes.
So what you're saying is that the feeds rotate, and as you add another blog post, the oldest blog post falls off the bottom of the feed. And so by adding, and the same thing with YouTube videos, right? As you add a new YouTube video, the oldest video falls off. So when you put in the feed for that specific video, then that video never falls off because you're going to braid it into Yahoo Pipes and it's going to become one feed, right?
Correct. It's no different than You know, like with the PBN Reloaded, we made it so, you know, new posts are added and frequency of publish is going up, but the one that you have a link going back to your money site on, that link stays in place. Like, that's not going to fall off the home page and lose the juice. So, same kind of concept, is just in a feed system.
Okay.
So, now, just going to come in here and
Yeah, let's see what this looks like in pipes.
Yahoo Pipes. And so when you first come in here, you'll have to get a Yahoo address and stuff, and you guys should be able to figure out how to sign up for one. But once you register your account, you just want to jump over to create a pipe, and we want to do, I just started this new one. So you just do a fetch feed, and this is going to be, you know, this is kind of the starting point. Like Yahoo, I believe, is a DA of 99 or 100, one of the two. Depends on the day you're looking at it, but it's very high, so I like to start out with this one first. And so I'm just going to take these feeds and throw it through here real quick. And just bear with me a minute while I copy and paste.
Adrian asks if Yahoo Pipes gets indexed.
I believe all of them do. They're good for, I don't know if you can actually rank a pipe page. I've never actually tried that, but the point is to get the links from it.
Yeah, I've never seen a pipes page ranked. I'm writing that down for us to test, Jimmy.
Okay. That would be interesting to actually try to rank that.
Right.
Have to optimize it, though.
Yeah.
I hear a challenge there, Jimmy.
Well, it'd be an interesting test nonetheless.
Indeed.
So one thing I want you guys to be aware of is, let's see. So when you're building out your WR2s and you're going after your secondary keywords from your DNA braid, you know, as you're setting some of those systems up, there's a cool thing that you can do with the filter. So this is just to give you an idea. This is a little off topic, but I figure some of you guys might like to see this.
You're going to give him all my best tricks, Jimmy.
Oh, he's doing the splicing stuff.
So
Damn him.
what you could do, so you can filter by a keyword. So like when you're putting your feeds together, you can just throw it in there, and it'll only filter out the feeds for what you're going to end up with a keyword. So you come in here and in description you could put, I don't know, whatever your keyword is, like internet marketing. I don't want to filter this, so I want everything to go through at the moment. You could just connect these up. I don't know if you guys can see the little yellow thing, but that means it's a one you can it'll allow you to connect to. Sometimes they won't let you connect, depending on some of the filters you're trying to do over here. But anyways, that's kind of what you want to do if you want to go in there and try to put in other keyword filters and then output it. You know, especially if you're just, when you work with your DNA keyword braid, like you could just have a whole hodgepodge, but maybe you're trying to theme for a specific WR2, because maybe that blog is just going to rank for one of those longer tail keywords.
Technical jargon alert. Keyword DNA braid. Who here has taken our technical? Jimmy's talking about the Kraken-based or the LSI-based, any of the tools that we use that, or if you took Tech Foundation 1 course, that's the array of keywords and top-level themes that you're focused on to rank for. Sue, would you define it better? I don't feel like is that right?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so that's one way if you wanted to filter out your keywords. So in your pipe output, you would only have specific keywords coming from the feeds that you put in here. So just a cool trick for you guys to keep in mind. But I'm not really concerned with that, so we're just going to put it over here.
So in doing this, what you've done is you've taken all three of those feeds, and you've told Yahoo Pipes to combine all of that into one feed, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And then down here, this is your debugger. This will tell you if there's anything wrong with going on down here. And you can open these up and see like what posts and things are being pulled through it. So you can just hit save, and you usually want to save your pipe with something that you want to rank for, or something, you know, what should we call it? What is it called? Something general for now.
Webinar.
No, something like that. So let's go save it. Give it a minute here. Click on Run Pipe. Then you got a web address up here. You want to make sure that you publish. So it goes live. So here's your string that you need, your pipe web address. And what I always like to do is whenever I create new feeds, or if I'm not familiar with something that I'm doing, I always go put it into Google, or I try to find it in Google. This might not be here right now, but you know, take your feed strings, your RSS strings that you get, and just throw it through something that's going to give you, you know, that's just going to let you see what it is, right? So you can see that this is coming in okay. So let me take this. Oops. So that's basically how you create a Yahoo pipe. And so you're going to do the same thing as you come through. You go to Feeds, FeedBurner is the second one that I usually do. You're just going to do the same thing. You could throw them all in here. Now, some other things that you can do with all these feeds, you'll see as we go through, is you can actually use them for other, like you can feed your feed. So what that means is, like, say I went to FeedAg and got a different URL string, I could take that and then go back to Yahoo Pipes and put it back into Yahoo Pipes, so it gets a separate URL string again, if that makes sense. Does that make sense for everyone? Give a 1 if that makes sense, or if I'm just talking nonsense.
Hey, Jimmy, there's one clarification point that I think naturally came up. And I went ahead and answered a couple, but I just want to confirm with both you guys. They're obviously going to be asking like WR1 versus WR2. So you're going to want to keep different directory, you know, like blog directory, RSS directory accounts, different social accounts. Everything from the youeverywhere.com chart is the same. In other words, separate your WR1s, WR2s, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't always work. Like, you know, some of these won't accept other people's feeds, and so you just have to try the different combinations that work.
Yeah, for instance,
just so you guys know that.
For instance, FeedBurner doesn't accept Google Plus RSS out. Actually, they're both Google companies, and they understand the power of people like Jimmy trying to do that, or Sue trying to do that. So they, at least when we checked last year, they scrambled. They don't allow G Plus to be threaded through FeedBurner. But I don't know, has that changed, Jimmy?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
I mean,
we'll
I don't know.
out.
I haven't tried it for a while, but
okay, we'll double check that.
FeedBurner tends to not like pipes either.
Yeah, it really depends on how it's set up.
It depends on which one you're doing, but I mean, you can go into a lot of these other ones in this chart, and you can go pull. You know, you definitely have FeedAg and FeedByte and FeedEdge and FriendFeed.
And hopefully, all you guys on this call know that Sue and I built a software that turns your Google Plus into RSS feeds for this very reason, because Google is not going to give us one. So we'll talk more about that later. Continue, Jimmy.
Okay, so if that makes sense, and like in some instances you can do it, and some you can't. You just have to see if it pulls back the feed URL okay. You know, most times it'll say, you know, you just get an error back. So just be aware of that. So you're going to promote your promotions, if that makes sense. So on the next time through, so we go through this step here, right? So we took a blog feed and we put it into feed burner, and we put it in Yahoo pipes. So now that gives us two other URLs. So we got a feed burner URL and a Yahoo URL. But we also have our originators that we grabbed them from to begin with. And so as you go through them, we can put the same things back in. Typically what I like to do, once you have the channel feed in there, I usually will just do a string of individual YouTube videos, and then I'll go in, and this will rotate through. This rotates through the generators. So my feed.ag URL that I would get, my second time through would go in place of the blog feed URL. Does that make sense? And then you have the individual videos that are going to be sticky on there.
Hello, everyone.
So,
I wanted to say, and Joshua has also asked, second time through, what do you mean? If you don't get this on the first pass, just relax as we go through it. You will begin to understand what this is, and we'll make sure that everybody gets it. Joshua was asking second time through. Jimmy, what do you mean second time through?
So we can have as many pipes as we want in here for this. You know, we can save as many as we want. So this is just the first step. So I went and took the blog URL, and then I grabbed the YouTube channel, and then I did an individual video. So once we do that, and we've completed these two here. So the next thing you can do is we can jump over to feed.ag. So let's just jump to feed.ag so you guys can see this process.
Where did we create the feed burner feed?
Oh, I created that.
Oh, you just skipped over the step. You created it? Or was I typing to somebody?
I didn't want them to see the other. So you go to feed.
Okay.
You just go to your feed burner, and you set up your account, and it'll be a little bar. I just don't want to show the rest of my feeds is the problem.
I understand.
What?
But it's pretty simple. There's a little box when you get to the home page on there that says enter your blog URL feed.
Right.
Okay, and you just enter that in, and there's some settings you can play with. Just to put it in there. So.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay,
yeah.
So this is the feed URL output that I got from putting it through
feed burner.
Feed burner.
All right.
Okay. So, but that's pretty self-explanatory. I think you could even find a YouTube video online if you want to see what that.
Now that's really simple. You just go to feed burner and stick your feed in there, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
You get a brand new URL for the same feed, but it's through feed burner.
Yeah. So these are the same posts that come through your blog feed that you put in there. For this one specifically, I used the blog feed on this. And so these are relaying the same posts as what is in the blog.
Right.
Everybody kind of tracking how all the things that he's doing connects to the domain authority of the services that's being used? Give me a 1 if you kind of see where all this is going. Because yes, they pass domain authority. You see why domain authority thinking is so much better and different than PageRank thinking? Because a lot of these have 0 page, specific PageRank and so on and so forth. Okay, good. Looks like people are getting that, guys. Good, good. Excited.
Yeah, and if you see, let me throw this in my other browser so you can see what we're looking at.
Almost all YouTube, almost all Google platforms, guys, gals, are domain authority 100. And even if your page authority is low, Jim, you'll be talking shortly about stacking, so you can see where it's going. And then when you automate your publishing upstream, publishing to downstream platforms, you start to build authority through those backlinks on different platforms. That's the whole purpose of this.
So you can see that this is a DA of 97, right? And then when you hover down through this is your anchored text back in this situation. It's through your title. So can you see down at the bottom left that's pointing back to the individual blog posts of Network Empire? So this is a target for us to use. But we also, that's basically, we just created, you know, a DA property to use. And You know, when we were talking about the bubble graphs and some of the things like that that you can use in your interlinking, this is one of those ones that you can use. You know, instead of, let's say, instead of, you know, like in, I don't know, Tumblr or whatever property you put in there, you could just put this instead. You can link over to this URL as opposed, because it goes back to the money site, right? Make sense? So hopefully that's making some sense here. And then you got pipes as a DA of 100, of course. So let's go over to this one, and I can log in real quick.
Hey, Sue, I want to confirm an answer I just gave.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I was going to ask Jimmy.
Page authority of FeedBurner, can you increase it? I don't think we tested that, Donald. I imagine that you can, because of the way that page authority is being assessed by Moz. Have we tried that, Jimmy? Have we tried to increase a page authority on a FeedBurner page? Or the HTML version?
Yeah, I mean, I blast everything usually, so.
Yeah, and you pretty much, the Moz bar will usually update on almost anything. Is there things that it doesn't? How about we ask a different question? What types of things do not update page authority that you know of for certain?
Well, sometimes I see resets on different platforms, like Facebook. I've seen resets on. And,
right, exactly. So a reset,
you know,
define reset when they actually change the URL and then all the link juice is gone, right?
Yeah, and so, but what's interesting is it's just like it kills. It's like a 301 or something that they did. So, you know, you're not going to see any page authority on there. Although, you know, a few weeks earlier that would have been like a PA of 87 or something. So, you know, sometimes properties just reset or they're moving URLs. You know, especially on like, I've had that happen quite often, like Amazon stuff, where you start link building something and they'll move the URL without telling you.
Yep.
So I mean, it just kind of depends on the property. I mean, it's their stuff and they can do that stuff at their discretion. So, you know, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just keep, even if it's acting as a 301, that link juice still passes through to the destination, so it's not really affecting anything. Although if you're going through and looking at the PA, it wouldn't show anything because then Moz is then looking at that as opposed to your old page.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just, hopefully that helps with that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's fun stuff. And these are great questions. The fact that you guys are actually asking these questions is very impressive to me. Donald, good one. I mean, because you're thinking independently. I'll let Sue grab that question. Yeah, I know what you're looking at.
Here's a good question from Jonathan. Define the difference between a feed aggregator and a feed generator.
So a generator, I called it generator because it produces a new URL string. So just like what we're looking at on the feed burner, so these are the same posts that are in Network Empire's blog feed, right? But it's on a different URL now. So like if I went to networkempire.com/feed. Let's give it a minute to load. Do you see that? So it's the posts and everything are the same as you're looking down here.
Right.
But you have they're different URLs. So you're creating different targets to go to. Does that make sense?
Different URIs.
So, yeah, so the generators are ones that actually create a new string for you. Aggregators are ones that are just more like extra juice, if that makes sense. Like you can't utilize, it doesn't create a new string for you, but it is boosting back to the blog. So that's the difference between a generator and an aggregator.
Aggregators are places that lists a bunch of different feeds, and people can either pick those feeds up or do something creative with them, right? Like directories and
so for instance, Sue, the RSS, one of the things we used in the one feed system was the RSS submit software. That generally goes out to the aggregators. right?
Yeah, that goes out to a bunch of aggregators as well.
Everybody just give me one if you understand the difference between an RSS aggregator or directory and RSS. What was the other one, Sue?
A generator.
An RSS generator. Okay, good. Because sorry, Jimmy, continue.
Oh, sorry. Somebody asked what does this one mean here, the generator URL. So we want to put all the ones that we generate or create, all the unique strings that we get, and we're going to put them all through all the aggregators. So we're going to take the feed ag string that we get, we're going to submit it to all of these, and we're going to submit it to these. Okay. Then you're going to take your feed byte, and that's a new string. It's going to go through the same process. You're going to take your feed burner and put that through the same process. So it's just going to keep going.
Right.
Take over for 1 sec, Sue.
Okay, so for example, in your generators up there, you've got your blog feed, you've got feed ag, feed byte, feed edge, and friend feed. So that's a total of 5 feed URLs. You're going to take each one of those URLs and you're going to put them through each one of these aggregator ones. And so that's going to take all 5 of those and put them out to all those different places. Then you're going to put your feed through feed burner. That's going to give you 5 more feeds. And you're going to take your feed, you're going to put it through Yahoo Pipes and combine it with like your YouTube video. That's going to give you 5. So by the time you get done with generators, you've got 15 different feed URIs. It's all got your blog in all of them. And then in Yahoo Pipes, it's also got videos meshed in there. So you take all 15 of those and you put them through aggregator 1, and you send them to all those different places. He's got 6 of them listed here. And then you're going to take all 15 of those again and put them through aggregator 2.
Everybody following that? And I would like to add, for the sake of just making sure none of you are feeling overwhelmed, the first time you do this is the hardest. Okay, for example, before we started outsourcing it to our trusted team and in the previous one feed. Okay, looks like people understand. Anybody who's unclear, just know that we're giving a broad brushstroke going through it, and as you begin to absorb some of these ideas and stretch your brain and stretch the processes, they'll become really obvious once you start calculating the domain authority, what's actually happening.
And we'll take this through the rest of this process so that you guys don't get lost.
So in this instance, you can see, so I submitted a feed to this one. Did I go over this yet? No. Probably not.
Go ahead and do it again, Jimmy.
Okay, so when you go to feedage, and after you log in, you're going to be on my dashboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to click on, we're looking at this one right here. And I'm not going to do all of them. It's all the same process, just creating accounts. So you're going to go up to my feeds, and you can hit, when you first go in here, there won't be anything there, so you'll hit submit an RSS feed, and feed title. I usually like to use keywords whenever possible, so like something that might get searched for, or the keyword you're going after,
Hey, Sue, quick question. The old method of using software such as RSS Submit, is that going to be a problem with this new system for feed spam and any of the aggregators, or what would you suggest?
No, we're going to get to RSS Submit in a bit.
Thank you. Did you get that, Adrian? Just wanted to confirm. Okay, good.
So we're going to put that in. You just hit save. And I'll show you the difference here. So you just hit save, and now that one's in here. Okay. So now you have 2 identical things, but they're different. Okay, so this one here is my...
Did you guys get that? Identical things are different? Just so you know, identical things are different.
The exact same feed, but we're just generating different targets, right?
Exactly.
So
got it.
The one I did before was the pipes, okay? And we're just going to go back. click on this one, and now you have this one.
So what you mean, Jimmy, by identical things are different is they're focused, they have different focus keywords and a different agenda, but the same.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I love it.
So, and you can see the feed things, or your blog posts from your feed are all down here, just down below. They do a great job of getting into panda trouble, obviously, but.
And that's why you need traffichospital.com. No, just kidding.
So these are basically what you want to grab,
Gotcha.
So let's see.
That's
I need to find.
And those pages, those you should be able to create page authority, no problem.
URL. It's there. It's the
There.
third thingy. Yeah.
Well, that's the one that we put into it, but I'm trying to find
Oh.
where they can get
The one out of it.
from this one. I think it's just this. It's in here somewhere. It's just been a while since I've
That doesn't.
done this
Yeah, I think there's a. Promote? Is it under promote?
Yeah, it might be promote. It's one of these here. Here you go. So this is your. It's probably right down in here. Anyways,
That's
I can find these for you guys and put it in there for you, but you can grab these feeds somewhere in here. That's the point of doing them. But mostly, once you're going to grab all these, then you're going to take them and you're going to go put them through each of these. And sometimes you can find them on here. You just have to do a custom search string. So you'd search for a title and then site : rssmicro.com. Not all of these do it, but some of them do. And
Okay,
so
Jimmy, hang on. You're talking about find them in there prior to adding them or through search or after you add them?
After you add them, but
Okay.
it'll take a few days for those feeds to get approved.
Right.
And start to have a home on this URL here, or this whichever one you're looking at.
Okay.
So then you can go, if you can find the string, then you can usually find the RSS, and then you can do this whole same process again. Okay. So, and then once you have all these different ones, you can just keep doing the same thing. You could see that we took our YouTube one and put it in. We took you can put your blog feed in there. You can put your feed burner in there. So each of these URLs go into this one. Now all of them are getting promoted through that. So hopefully this makes sense. I mean, it's not much to it. You guys need me to go through others?
Who would like to do one more? Give me a 1. Who wants to move on? Give me a 2. Okay, about half and half.
It's going 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, 1, 2. Guys, there's some other interesting questions. Sue, did you see those questions? I'll let you decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you select at this point because some of them are huge from previous courses, like GSA.
Right.
And then somebody asked, Jimmy, this is probably a quick one for you. Somebody asked about the RSS output of Magic Submitter. I know you don't use it, but is there a way you could use any RSS feeds from any of those mass stacking systems and stuff like this, or is that kind of a waste of time?
No, I mean, you could certainly use them. It could be similar to your RSS submit section there. In fact, I think a lot of the ones that RSS submit, like Magic and some of the others, utilize.
Right.
So,
they're doing the same thing, which is essentially getting whichever RSS feed you put in there out to the aggregators, right?
right.
Okay.
So, yeah, no matter what tool you use, they're basically doing the same thing as the RSS submit does.
Okay, gotcha. Does that answer yours, Donald? Is it Donald? Or? Yeah, okay, good.
We got the RSS feed aggregate one site. We'll run it back through.
You guys are asking great questions.
So Daniel has a good question. So what you want to do is, once you have these new URLs, go back through and start putting them through again. So just like So you saw that we put these ones through. When I create my feed egg, and you guys can pull the feeds from here somewhere, I just can't find feedage off the top here, but each of these you can pull their own RSS feeds off of this too, and then you can put them through the others. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you can take your feedage URL and you put it through feed egg, feed byte, friend feed, and so on and so forth. Like you can just, it's like kind of like a huge wheel basically. So, and that's the point, you want to keep promoting the promotions, because then you're generating tons of high DA unique URLs that you can then blast.
Now, hey, Sue.
Or, I wouldn't say blast.
Right. Go ahead, Jimmy. Well, I was just looking at something that I think sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, and Sue, you do a good job of answering this. Why is it that we're so big on mix meshing video, and Jimmy too, whatever, either one of you, in our feeds? It's my favorite kind of topic, really, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, it makes them more attractive, right? The videos are sticky. They're highly engaging.
And people love the RSS, the real black hats out there, not that I know any of those types of people, love to steal RSS feed with video in them, and when given a choice, they will swipe the video because of the reasons Sue it's the same reason that what she just said. And so, you know, remember the Abby Hoffman, Steal This Book? Remember that book, Steal This Book? All right, well, for the digital world, steal this video. Steal this feed. Steal this feed, exactly. Thanks, Sue. When you have a choice generating massive content from RSS aggregation and borrowed -- content, not that I've ever done that, you're going to choose video RSS feeds. So you're literally using the domain authority of a high, especially if that RSS feed from the YouTube channel or a site that has video has high domain authority. That's when things get really interesting. We've noticed effects when you splice these things together that you can kind of ride the wake of that authority. Would you agree, Jimmy?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a very fast way to just get a lot of high DA going back to your site very quickly. And basically, once you're putting out more and more content, there's just more targets for these to go back to. And I definitely wouldn't have any problems with going directly to this, you know, like blasting a feedage URL. I mean, you can do that for each of the ones that you create, and it's just going to power up all of these.
Here's a question for you guys. If RSS feed is showing post excerpts, how are the links inside the post becoming backlinks if only the post title is visible in the feed?
Well, that's what I'm saying. In some of them they do, and some of them you don't.
Right.
I mean,
So it's not a set standard.
Aggregators. It depends too. Like, there's also another setting that you check underneath how many you put out. That's either publish. It's either what is it, excerpt or full post, I think, are the two options underneath that. And so if you check full post, all those links that you have in that post is going to be in there.
Precisely.
So that's why I was trying to tell you guys, just be careful when you're, you know, if you do full post and you start doing this, you're going to have, if you put a keyword in that post, these are all going to be keywords going back to that blog page.
Exactly.
So you got to be careful with what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're nervous with it, just do excerpt.
Right. And
personally, I like excerpt because it brings the traffic back to your blog. If you put the full post out there, then they can read your full post, and there's no reason to come to your site.
Yeah.
So think about that. If you're going to put in the full post, make sure you include some kind of a call to action.
Yep. And I love the Jack feeds that have full content. So go ahead, guys, put it out there all you want, so I can build sites automatically. What?
Russell.
What? No, just kidding. Did I say that out loud? Scratch it. Scratch it.
So let me just log in and show you guys where this is real quick. Guess it doesn't matter since this one got toasted till I'll get out anyways. So if you look at this, I think it's under settings, and it would be I think it's under reading or writing or something like that. Let's see which one it is.
When you say blast, Jimmy, you use the term blasting quite frequently. You're meaning GSA, right?
Well, GSA, or, you know, I also like to do DAS to these other high DA properties, or mix them in with part of my stack.
Okay.
You know, so when you're going through, I don't have to create a new property necessarily. I could go back and go to a feed, and that's going to serve the same purpose because they go back to the money site.
Okay.
Okay, slow down. I don't want to slide over that one at all. Let's just stop and not move until, because I think this is, when I'm trying to explain this to guys, this is the part where they just like look at me like the deer in the headlights. So say that all again, Jimmy, and let's make sure that they get what you just said, because it's the biggest misnomer.
Okay. So this was my old one, right, before we did the other one.
Define, what do you mean other one, and what do you mean?
This was from a previous webinar.
Right, exactly. Before we had this
Yeah.
new thing that we just designed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of gather in this point, the part of the problem is on the feeds is they just all go back to the money site. It's not common that you can put another URL in there to go somewhere else, right?
Your arrow is really
So-
freaking me out, man.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
So instead of gather, let's say this was your feed burner page. Like, I couldn't keep it here, but I can definitely put it in place of my Go articles.
Got it.
Right. So for my gather, I can link to the FeedBurner URL, and then FeedBurner just automatically links to all the blog pages on your site, either through title, if you did that setting, or through the full Monty. So, and this is your setting right here that you're looking at. So you can either do full text or you can do summary, and
See,
this
are
is
you,
where you can control
are we,
how many you're going out.
are we generally doing summary on our network?
You know, it depends. It depends on what the primary purpose of the feeds are going to be for that particular network.
Right, and on which
Actually-
layer we're on, right?
Yeah. Coming soon to Network Empire near
Don't
you
say
will
it.
be
Don't
a,
say it. Don't. Go ahead.
will be a plugin that allows you to create more than one feed so that you can have your wicked way with them.
Yeah. So okay. You two are
So-
evil.
So that makes, you know, if you're nervous about it, just do summary. If you're not so shy on the SEO part, you could get away with full text. You just have to be aware of what you're putting into your posts as far as like internal links. Okay.
Oh, here's a great
So-
question, Jimmy. If somebody's money site, if they were following the PBN Reloaded, or no, I'm sorry, forget that. If the money site is posting new content, say once per day, would they just, is this set and forget? They only do this once, or do they have to come back and make sure everything's glued together every once in a while? Or do they have to do it every month or every week? Or what is the frequency of doing this whole system that we're showing them?
You just set it up once, and then it should all be in place.
Exactly. So it's set and
You
forget,
shouldn't have
guys.
to go back and keep doing it. Yeah.
So that
It does
doesn't,
take some time to first go through, but
yeah.
it's worth it.
It doesn't change, guys. That's true in the old one feed system. It's always set and forget. That's the cool thing about it, is once you get this down, it's one time. You can charge clients, like the clients start seeing results right away if you have clients. I know some of you in here, like Fletch and everybody else, you know, you can actually get pretty stellar results and you set this up once.
You can charge them a monthly recurring.
Yep, even if you set it up once. And then you can
Yeah.
call it a maintenance fee. In fact, I know someone doing this.
So, and then back to the pipes section again, so you guys are following along. So what I can do is I can come in here, and last time we put the feed in there, we can make a second one, right, using the feed burner and going back through again. So you can do a create a pipe, and we could go through the same process where, and it locked me out. We could go through the same process where we can drop it into the first one, and then you know, instead of the channel, since we already had that in there once, I start putting in the individual YouTube videos as a feed that I want to be sticky. Because as they go out through there, which this is going to tie into, I'm going to show you on this 5 iframe punch, that way we're just kind of really stacking stuff automatically. So does that make sense? Give me a 1 if this is making sense. Okay, good. It looks like everyone's getting this. Okay, So that's this portion in a nutshell. And we kind of went over the dash portion too on that, so we don't need to revisit that. So let's pull up the 5A frame punch again. This is a little bit blurry of a picture.
Guys, there's a lot of questions come in. You're going to get these graphics. So take a deep breath, say your mantras. I promise.
So we've got a couple of questions here on the anchor text that you talked about. So let me just try to rephrase what it was that you said, Jimmy. If you think about what he's doing here, he's taking your one feed that comes out of your blog and multiplying it 3 times, and then each one of those get multiplied 4 more times, so you end up with 25 of these feeds. You're taking those 25 feeds and you're throwing them into a bunch of different aggregators. And so what that does is it takes those 25 feeds and it throws them a half a dozen different places. So now all of a sudden you've got like 150 inbound links. So if you have an anchor text that's got your keyword, your primary keyword, you've suddenly just created 150 inbound links with that anchor text. That's not so bad, but if it's viral and it gets picked up and redistributed widely, it could easily get out of control, and it can push you over that boundary of having over-optimization, exactly. So it's just something to think about and be careful of.
So what's the solution to that, you guys? So you're talking about diversity, and so you're kind of paying attention to that in terms of the backlink strategy?
Diversity, you use your URL as a link rather than a keyword.
Right.
You know, all of these things that I've got hyper, and I said, what the heck are you doing this for a year ago? It's because we weren't using Jimmy's super machine gun approach to anything.
Right, because now we can... Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, when you start to refine the methods and actually using, I hate to say the word black hat, but using more automated,
is that Matt Cutts
highly targeted systems. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It says Matt Cutts. It's hilarious. Hi, Matt.
Then you start to encroach on those limits. So if you were just doing everything manually by hand, and the stuff that we teach in the members area, then you're not going to encroach on those. You're not going to get anywhere close to over-optimization. But when you start getting into some of the stuff that Jimmy does, you need to be careful and aware.
So can I repeat back to you what I think I'm saying, like in the Jimmy and Sue for Dummies, and you can correct me?
Yeah.
Okay, what I hear you saying is if I don't have ridiculous GSA skills, or at least some moderate GSA skills from GSAsoftware.com, which is our course on that, or we have other things like that, it's quite a possibility if I don't diversify excerpt, blog title links, in other words, that I could blow myself up with a penguin over optimization penalty.
Even domain authority stacking.
Wow. So, but you're saying when I do have those kinds of skills to what? Stack to these page authorities, and then I'm less inclined to be penalized? I don't really understand what you're saying.
You want to diversify your anchor text.
Okay.
And you want to use non-money keywords. You want to use your URL. You might even want to use click here.
So so almost like would the Empire keyword approach that we use in our advanced courses be effective for that? Because then you're diversifying your Empire keywords, what you call your EK.
You're definitely diversifying it more. It depends on, so like Jimmy's shown you 2 different concepts here. One is you just move through that process map once, right? And you end up with like 150 different feeds.
Right.
But then he also started talking about, oh, you can take those feeds and you can drop them back into Yahoo pipes. And you can create, I mean, you can get carried away. You can create literally hundreds of feeds there in pretty short order.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're going to do that sort of stuff, then you really want to not hit any of your primary keywords hard. Gotcha.
Well, let me ask you this, Sue. What is the diminishing return on that kind of meta RSS feed nesting? In other words,
Jimmy that.
Well, Jimmy, let me ask you this. If we're dealing with doesn't that depend upon the size of your site? Like if we're going for the word, like some of the crazy stuff that you and Sue are doing right now, if you're going for the word like insurance, or auto insurance, or this, and the size of the site and the content is huge, and you're going for this, can you then worry less about that, or does that all depend upon the domain authority of the site that you're targeting. Like if you've got a domain authority of like 70 on the site that you're ranking certain keywords for, you're going to be less inclined to have that over-optimization penalty, or how do you know how deep to go with RSS replication?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it really depends on domain authority of the target site.
Thank you.
So,
Trying to lead the witness there a little.
You know, if you don't have a high enough DA, then you can definitely be subject to over-anchorage.
That, guys, that's what I want everybody on this call to understand. Give me a 1 if you understand what Jimmy just said, and 2 if you're unclear, because I don't want to, you know, don't come crying to me.
Yeah, like, you know, just make sure, you know, if you don't want to think about the anchor text and stuff like that, just make sure on your site, you know, where the heck that go? Just make sure you're checking summary on your blog. Because
Jimmy, I noticed that you often bring up, it's kind of a funny thing, you often bring up a DA of 53. What is 53? Is that the answer to the universe? Like
53 is where you can start having more fun.
Okay, you guys get that? I'm not trying to drop sneak peeks here, tips from. So what is 53 exactly? What do you mean more fun?
More fun means it can handle lower quality links typically.
Thank you. Guys get that?
Low DA links.
Everybody give me a 1 if you did not hear that. I mean, sorry, if you did hear that. I'm trying to not be black hat at all here in the information I leave you, but I'm trying to leave you some breadcrumbs. Ooh, you guys got it. You guys are very naughty boys and girls. Okay, good.
So if you're worried about the anchor text, make sure that you just check summary and you'll be good. You know, if you don't want to worry about that, you just want autopilot and it's going back to your titles, you know, you'll be fine with your title links. That's not going to be a problem. I mean, there might be an instance where you could be in trouble if it's just your exact match keyword as your title. You might want to pay attention to that. But, you know, you should be sprucing up your titles to be, you know, solving the pain or getting them to go to a call to action. It shouldn't be like, here's my keyword as my title.
Yes.
And a 500-word
yes.
article.
And hopefully you guys have all taken the Tech Foundation 1 training that starts tomorrow at part1.swallowyourmarkethole.com, where we make sure every day Sue gets out her whips, all kinds of major tools to make sure, Lloyd, that you do not backlink the same word everywhere. And because I'm having a conversation with Lloyd, he's asking great questions.
Right.
We're talking, don't ever forget your persuasion architecture. Don't surrender to the machine world and do like backlink anchor text spamming. If you're actually selling and driving real human beings upstream, then you're going to have a pretty good diversification as long as you don't overdo these machine world kind of spam systems, okay? I realize that you're not all Jimmy and Sue, and you're still learning some of the GSA tactics and the backlink tactics. So this is what we're really getting at, these safeguards. Look at your domain authority of the target site. Remember what you're selling. Create a diversity in your blog post of your description, persuasion, and diversify your titles, and you're generally going to be okay. All right? Excellent.
Yeah, and so, you know, and it comes down, we want you to succeed, and so sometimes for myself, I'm a little hesitant to put out there stuff that could get you in trouble without being experienced, just because I don't want you to nuke your money site that you've been working on for a while. So,
exactly. Don't open that other file.
Yeah, there's just been different
Don't
levels
open the third
of stuff
file. Yeah, okay, good.
that we walk you into. So now let's bring this back to the 5 iframe punch, okay? And one thing you guys should note, I don't know if you noticed over here in the blue, but you don't have to do just your blog feed. You can take your Scoop It feed, your Storify feed, your Pinterest feed, your Delicious feed. You can take all that stuff and run it through all this, okay? So keep that in mind as we go through this other portion here.
Guys, here's a quick tip for you, as well as the paper.li feed wasn't on there, but that's a good one too. Scoop It, I don't know why, is really attractive to humans. So that's just a little side tip. I'm just trying to save you some time. I don't know why people just click on. I think it's the way the shape of the way the feed, the way he sets up the insert. It's just the way he's got his markup.
Yeah. So on this one, so remember the individual YouTube feed for the video that we put in there into pipes, where you're putting in the ones you want to promote the most or be the most sticky. In those, I also link out to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Pinterest, my money site. You know, you can go to LinkedIn. You know, I usually at the end of my description, I'll just say you can also find us on, and then I just link out to all my other social properties. But what happened with this being sticky and all those RSS feeds, now you have like automatic links going back to this. Okay, and they're sticky, so they're going to stay there.
Hey, Jimmy, here's a great question. Jimmy, here's a great question based on what you just said. Some guys are using Yoast for SEO, the free plugin, and there's a setting in there where the RSS feed can say first published on, or you're seeing this on. Are you advising turning that on? Is that okay, or do you get redundant content problems with that when you're syndicating through the network?
Your rel canonical, as long as it's set up on your blog, should handle that by itself.
Gotcha.
So like, Google knows that it's an RSS thing, so you're not really going to get hit with duplicate content in that sense.
Okay.
Because they recognize that's an RSS feed, and that's not gonna ding you on dupe content.
Okay. And that'll bring people to the question of the rel canonical, which we cover elsewhere. So, got it. Thank you.
So we just need a bit of clarification here, Jimmy. In the YouTube description, how many links are you putting in there?
Good question.
I won't put, well, okay, on my money ones that I like and I want to keep, I'll do maybe like 5 links. They'll go up to my major social properties like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. I like to also throw in my YouTube channel in there, so then it sends the juice back up to the channel to help all the other videos, so that you don't have to link to each video individually.
Sounds like our wiki entry on YouTube styling is still okay then. But Jimmy, when you were here, you were pointing out that, is it still true? Did you finally decide that thin content on the descriptions in YouTube is problematic? So if you're putting those links, you want to put decent content in there, or what's the status now?
Yeah, with Panda 4.0, you don't want to be, if you're going to be linking to it, you only want to have your keyword in your title once. A lot of the ones that I saw that dropped had like keyword in there twice, no description, and then they even went in and did comments with the keyword again in it. So, it's very thin in that sense, and then you can just trigger that Panda pretty easily when you start sending those keywords to that YouTube video. So it'll just trip the wire basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what you want to do is make sure that you're putting in, probably like a little paragraph of content in your description area of your video. You want to put in just put your keyword in there once. Try to make it a long tail. Don't just be like, internet marketing as your video title. Make it actionable. And then typically with that kind of dilution, I'm going to do an update for the GSA course, but you're going to want to use a few more LSIs as opposed to just the one. I still have success on just using one, but I know a couple of people that are just getting into GSA have had some problems, but you just want to get maybe 4 to 5 LSIs to go in with your main target keyword, and that should dilute it down enough.
And would LSI be the same as the co-occurrence model? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But just pure diverse.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys, and I'll update that in the GSA course here soon once I get a few minutes. But
very cool.
So basically, and this all ties into DAS. Remember that the video example, like you can do a video, and then the video is also going to get embedded back on your money site.
Yep.
So, and then of course you can just boost all these up. You can use these in your DAS, or you can use GSA if you've taken that course and know.
Just love it. Yeah, because Pinterest has a feed out too. So are you guys ready to move on to the advanced stuff? Give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you're ready to move on to the advanced stuff. There's nobody even respond. Okay, some of them are laughing. They think I'm serious. I'm just messing with you guys. Guys, can I just stop here for a second and say, I consider every single one of you on this call to be major badass. Like you're moving into like serious badassness on multiple levels. And so I want to express my appreciation for the level of dedication that you're giving to your profession. Because as you probably have gathered, there's nothing like this material anywhere else. I don't have to keep saying that. But it blows my mind every day, like some of the tests that I'm able to watch go down here. And the years we've dedicated into seeing all these things go down. you're really positioning yourself with your clients or with your own work to be able to work a lot less hard to do a lot more powerful things. And that's what excites me the most. So thanks a lot, you guys.
And then the other thing I like to do is also do tweets. You know, do tweets to all of these that you're doing, and then GSA the tweets. Okay.
Hey,
So
Jimmy,
you can boost these up.
Jimmy, in your mind, where does social explosion fit into all this? I'm not platform pitching our upcoming new version of social explosion or anything, but I'm just looking at, in your mind, that's over in a different category, right? Your upstream blog and your primary site is still using those back signals, and so that's just more in the sauce, right?
Oh yeah, you're getting a lot other high DA going back to your money site directly. So I mean, you know, between that and using this one feed method, you know, it's like links on autopilot.
It's kind of ridiculous,
you know, so
yeah.
people can kind of just go in and really just start utilizing, you know, really high quality links that they want to use to start mixing in to try and rank for stuff at that point.
Gotcha.
I mean, this feed system that I've used before, I typically see about a 3-page jump.
Okay.
As soon as it's all in there and indexed.
Everybody interested in a 3-page jump? Is it worth learning this for a 3-page jump?
Nah.
Guys? Give me a 1 if you think I'm trying to get some audience interaction because there's almost 100 people on this call and like only 10 people are like responding. And I think the rest of them are in shock. They're just like, oh, or maybe it's Google spam department. I don't know. All right, cool. So
Google's trying to learn how to rank.
well, I'm trying to help. We're trying to help them, like their algorithm. You know, just kidding. Looks like everybody here is getting it. Dan says, I was going to, I'm not going to repeat that. Chad says, I'm going to get my outsource team on this right away. Tony says, I've been doing this a while, and this is amazing. Yeah, Tony Camaro, thank you. Tony's doing some great reports on how to sell networks. Is there going to be a reply on the website? Angela, can you, I don't understand what you're asking. Oh, replay, yes. Guys, I'm recording this, and it will be inside your private members area for the replay.
So then you see how this is stacking. I hope you guys are kind of seeing this thought process here. So this YouTube video, just think of it right here. I didn't draw the other arrows, obviously. But then this gets picked up with your Storify. Okay,
Hey,
so now you got your...
Gotcha.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to make sure can you run us through the Storify to DA flow? Again, I just didn't quite, there's somebody asking. Storify to YouTube? Does that mean Storify is in YouTube, or I don't?
The YouTube video would be in
Storify. Okay.
So it's an embed, right? So
yep.
So when you have an embed, that counts as a link. So when you're embedding your YouTube video onto these properties, it counts as a link back to this YouTube.
Exactly, Jimmy, and that's what I wanted to emphasize here. I don't know what it is, but somehow, Sue, maybe you can respond. Like it was in 2010 or 9, there was this weird notion for people who were PageRank fundamentalists, that iframes somehow don't pass link juice. And Jimmy, would you please just put that to rest, like right here?
They do pass link juice.
Did everybody get that? Give me a 1 if you understand that iframes pass link juice. Give me a gigantic 1. Give me a double 1. There you go. Okay, there's a lot more people than just 6 people on this call. I'm glad to. Ooh, there's about 30. Guys, iframes pass link juice. Thank you. Thanks, Jimmy.
No problem. So then, of course, now Storify becomes a property you can use in your DAS, or you can use it for other purposes. Okay. I only put GSA bubbles around stuff because if you've taken the GSA course, you should know when you can and when you can't and what anchors you're supposed to use. It's like too much to go into with the DAS together. But so Scoop It also pulls your Storify. So the green arrows are representing this step above, right? So we know that this is embedded in Storify, so you have that. And Scoop It can also have both. Does that make sense? So you're reciprocating this link juice all the way through. And then, of course, you can have multiple targets on that. But in addition to that, think about what we just went over with the one feed. this has a feed, Storify has a feed. So you can go back through your process over here and be implementing all this on those properties as well. Okay, so it's a whole lot of automated kind of process just by setting up certain properties.
I love it. There's somebody, Jimmy, there's somebody saying, I'll believe you guys, but I just have a hard time believing that iframes pass link juice. It's kind of cute. I told her.
Yeah, they do. So the reason I know that is I've been in affiliate marketing for a long time, and a lot of the things that you get through, at least the methods I use, usually have to have an iframe to make it look. So when they click on the affiliate link, it keeps them on the page because you're iframing into the other page.
Right.
And trust me, it passes link juice.
Yeah, I mean, guys, part of the reason we know this is not just that. I mean, Jimmy's got huge, massive experience. Sue has huge, massive experience. I have experience in this front in that I couldn't figure out why the heck I was passing all this apparent authority, even though things like YouTube descriptions were no follows, and a lot of the social media platforms by default create no follows. You guys know that, right? But then you could actually see the results, and then Jimmy came along and started showing me this why that's the case. All right, so once you understand that, for example, I had a whole network that I was building out that was 100% based on the old idea. In fact, some of you have taken my Curation Profits course, that no follows were not as useful. This is back in 2012, and it just didn't make sense. The kind of domain page authority we were getting passed didn't make sense in terms of the no follow model. So that's where we're coming from. We've tested it profusely. Wendy, teasing. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, you guys. Continue.
So I think everybody is following from those. Everybody understand the 5 iframe a little better and understand this feed system promotion?
They get it. People are excited. Wow, life-altering. Great. How do we benefit from the feeds of Storify? Storify doesn't have a feed, guys. Adrian, scoop it if there are not updates. Adrian, you keep bringing this one up, and it's a good one. What do you do when you don't have updated content? In fact, that's I think the third question you've asked, which means to me that you've got either a PBN, a private blog network, or you don't. Your network is really not a broadcasting network. It's more on static sites and content. Let me just say this about that. There's a lot that can be done, and we do have static sites on our networks, right, Sue, when we're building them out. But there's a lot of stacking that happens to them, right? And even so, you know, you're not, I wouldn't say not to submit your RSS feeds on static sites and the rest. You're just going to have to be aware that what we call FOP, or frequency of publish, is a key factor in broadcasting and is becoming more and more a part of what keeps your network a living thing. Sue, do you have more to add to Adrian on how he should think about his more static sites on his network? Or Jimmy?
I was actually answering another question, so I wasn't following. I apologize.
No worries. Well, Adrian's talking about Scupa in this case. Are you auto-posting? Adrian, I was talking to Guillaume, the owner of Scupa, the other day. In fact, he wants to show Sue, Jimmy, and I his enterprise version of that. Before we pass it on to you guys, I want to double-check, because he's trying to pitch me on auto-posting to Scupa like software on your own server. Anybody interested in that? Anyway, point is that you can't really auto-post to Scoop It right now, and Guillaume really doesn't want people to do that, because think about it from his perspective, right? You know, it's like he wants the interaction. Part of the value of the increased domain authority through his network is that people are automatic, you know, they're manually going through stuff and adding and tweaking. So hopefully that answers your question, Adrian, is there are not a lot of auto-posting. However, you can run a script. We don't teach that. You can pull the RSS feeds out, but currently on the non-enterprise version of Scoop It, you cannot publish via an RSS. On the enterprise version, you can. Okay.
Yeah, I think Snap will publish to that.
Snap does not publish to Scoop It.
Okay.
It publishes to the big 5, but it doesn't publish to Scoop It, which is more.
Okay.
Sue, if I'm wrong on that, actually, guys, let me be 100% sure. Sue is usually right. I'm usually wrong. So just let's go in. And
I'm not 100% sure either.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we put up that list, I was actually thinking of the WR1 stuff that you manually post to those sites. Well, I mean, obviously some of them you auto post to, but I'm thinking WR1s more than or WRS ones more than the WRS2. And Lloyd brought up a good question too. He says it's okay to be publishing our WR1 RSS to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. Wouldn't it be overkill to implement all of this? And so when you're sending the same feed with the same content to someplace like Twitter or Facebook, you only send it once to your branded Twitter or Facebook account, and the rest of them are to the WRS2. So this is actually starting to get into
exactly, another course.
Yeah, into going out to the WRS2 to non-branded Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts that you would set up for these purposes.
Exactly. Guys, please come to certification in October. I feel it'll be like the most important thing you've ever done, like ever.
Exactly.
Like, please come. And if you're challenged by the finances or whatever, we do have, I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. You can get clients to pay for it. If you need some counseling about that or some encouragement, just hit me up on Skype. I want to see you there. It's impossible to teach you the full system without getting you strapped to a table. Like, Sue will handcuff you to the table for like 7 days, 6 days.
And whip you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one in October, guys. I want to see you. Fletch, I especially want to see you there. Don't make me come 5 blocks over to your house and drag you into the car and kidnap you. Okay, I want to see you guys there. We've just confirmed that Snap, Kevin Polly, our semantic expert and master of several trades, has confirmed that Snap does not publish to scoop.it, sadly.
Awesome, thanks.
Sorry, you're welcome.
And I think, Russell, you did some, was it Scoop It or Storify that you actually show them how to get the feed for it? You have
Storify got rid of their feed because as a newscast organization, I think, I talked to their VP there and he wouldn't tell me why they got rid of the RSS feed. He just said, oh, we'll consider returning it. I think it's because they want all the glory and they're doing a lot of stuff with it. Scoop It has an RSS feed out. If you want, just let me know. I'll show everyone how to pull the RSS feed out of Scoop It. It's actually right on the admin for each magazine that you have, for each theme. You can just go right over to the admin area. It's a little sneaky, but it's right there. You just go to the admin, pull out RSS. Everybody, our Skype group, you can ask me for an ad to the basic theme Zoom, and or if you're in this course and you're not in the domain authority stacking room, Skype room, please hit me up on Skype. It's just theme Zoom is my handler. I'll add you to that. And of course, those of you who want to talk about the live certification event, I really do want to see as many of you there as we can fit in, and I'll be sure to look at your situation and tell you if it's appropriate, put you in the right direction.
So does everybody, are we good on this then?
I think we are. This is a lot for people's brain to process. Everybody feel like they can come back to this video later when we publish it and ask decent questions in the Skype group, and you'll be able to get this process down. I want you guys to be able to do this in your sleep, because think about it. What kinds of things in business are worth learning? Rich Sheffron calls these meta processes. When you have processes this powerful, when generally speaking, you set it up one time with a little bit of maintenance, then you're really leveraging your time, your rankings, your traffic. If you've got an upstream publishing process that's got a high-ticket item, guys, you're ranking for some of the big keywords and the decent middle tiers, and that's when the money starts comes flooding through, because you've leveraged your time. You've taken the time to learn what Jimmy calls the battery method and the RSS, the one feed method. And then we can show you this stuff in person. Also, don't forget tomorrow, Tech Foundation 1, 4 seats left. Any of you who have not learned to effectively set up and prepare your WR1 money site for this kind of power, you really need to have your WR1 set up carefully. Learn how to optimize that WR1 site. Please do join us for the Tech Foundation course. See me on Skype today before the seats are filled up. I do want to get you in there. It's an 8-week boot camp training with Matt DeCruz, Sue Bell, and myself with some guest talks with Jimmy. Want to see you prepping your WR1 for this ultimate power. What do you think?
I want to answer one question on there. Some people are asking about the aggregator too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Feedage that we just did. You literally go in and there's just a place to drop in your RSS feed. So you'll want to put your feed burner in there, your Yahoo pipes, and all your other generators, and you're going to put all those URLs through both aggregator 1 and aggregator 2, because that's just going to get you a lot more love.
Absolutely. Also, Joshua is reminding me, otherwise known aka Fletch from OMG Live, speaker at OMG Live, is reminding me to tell all of you that the Tech Foundation 1 training and Tech Foundation 2 that's coming out, and that the cost of those are put up against your certification cost, as well as you have forever access to what is fast becoming probably the elite mastermind group in the world for SEO and online development, at least that I've ever been able to find all the aspects of it. So that is, when you come into these courses, like the Tech Foundation 1 and the 8-week boot camp, you can attend or participate in all post-seeding boot camps forever. And you have access to the mastermind group forever. It's a one-time payment, and you're going to be available. All the other courses and training are available forever. So when we have other boot camps, if you want to jump back in and re-audit yourself, you have access to all the changes inside the Tech Foundation members area. It's a pretty elite group, guys. I just wanted to make sure, because Sue has reminded me to let everybody know that this is an ongoing mastermind group. And with that,
should I take it away and show him Samson?
please do.
All right.
You know, I was going to say, too, you know, this is first time at CERT for me, and, you know, there's just so much good stuff there. I mean, when you're talking about, like, the stuff that Kevin went over with the semantic web and, you know, Matt with helping secure your sites, I mean, it's just a huge value.
Okay, so the one thing that we wanted to get into was Samson. We can also talk about RSS Submit. RSS Submit is a desktop application, and you can throw all of your feeds into RSS Submit, and it'll put it out to a bunch more aggregators. And so that's really pretty straightforward. You can take all 15 of those feeds that we generated in step 1 and throw them into RSS Submit. But if you have Samson loaded on your blog, then every time you put out a blog post, it creates a feed for that blog post. And you can grab that feed right here. It looks like this. And this is actually a list of places where your feed was syndicated to. And you can grab that feed and you can throw it. What were we going to do with these feeds, Jimmy? This is getting so out of control, I honestly don't remember.
We were going to use them. Well, it's kind of like the sticky post concept, because you want to grab the ones that were most important and probably put them through the same ringer that we do on the other ones.
You could also grab them and
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would take the most important ones. I wouldn't necessarily do it every time you post a blog post. And I would focus on your WRS one, your money site. I wouldn't do this for all of the ones in the WR2, otherwise that gets to be just a bit insane. But you can grab those and you can throw them in your aggregators. You can throw them into RSS Submit, and yeah, those are the two places that I would throw them.
Sue, do you use, I just wanted to confirm your standard on Samson. Are you using Samson with the new domain authority stacking list for Samson on WR1s or just WR2s? What's our policy, our position on this?
That new list I would throw into everything because it's going to be a cleaner list.
And it's going to overwrite the his default settings of Samson? Which,
yes.
Okay.
So you come in here to the URL list.
Correct. And guys, just go over to the Skype group, and I dropped it in there yesterday. I'll drop that new list, courtesy of Mike Pierce, into the group. And we'll also put it inside the course, actually.
Yep. So it's going to be a much shorter list, but the domain authority is much
way better,
tighter on those.
So Sue, you're cool with using Samson on WR1s and WR2s?
Yep.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
Hey, I want to make a correction. Some of you who've contacted me privately, I said only use it on WR2, specifically PinVids, because I'm kind of a PinVid fundamentalist. And so I stand corrected. Just use the new DAS list that we'll have in the members area for your WR1s, and it's safe.
Yeah, I wouldn't be inclined to use the default list on my
Exactly.
WR1s because it's going to dilute your domain authority. It's got some stuff in there that's
In
a
fact,
little
hide that URL. That's my site. I haven't changed it yet.
Oops.
So I'm just kidding. That's embarrassing. Whoops. Changing it now. So Mark Steele asks, what course are you going to put into? Well, Mark, I'm going to put it, of course, in this one. This is a domain authority stacking. You guys have you're all part of domain authority stacking. So I'm going to add that list. I'm also going to drop the hard text file into the Skype room as soon as I save the recording of this GoToMeeting, so everybody will have that.
So Jason asked about domain authority stacking list, a list of high DA properties to use for stacking. The list that we were just talking about was the one to use inside of Samson.
Because everybody, this is a little confusing. Samson actually uses sites that are like Alexa sites or government sites that they allow you just by using a script to post your backlink to them, and they give you this low page authority backlink. But we cleaned that list because what I think Eric is his name uses in Samson by default has some pretty crummy sites. So Sue suggested that we find a list that isn't so messy with questionable. So we've cleaned up the list that goes into Samson by default. You guys get that? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason. Also, Mike has asked a pretty cool question. Mike Hayden, SEO, local SEO extraordinaire. Do I update RSS Submit 5.0? I did, and all I can say, I'm not recommending it or anything. I'm just saying I'm glad that I did update. It's coded so much better, especially for the new version of Windows, and just is a better app. It's solid.
The list for Samson's going to be in the members area here right after the webbing.
Yep, and in the Skype group.
Yep.
In fact, I'm dropping it in the Skype group. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Anything else you want to cover, Sue?
I think we're good.
You guys are awesome, and we're going to post this replay just as soon as I can get the hamsters to transcribe or generate the file and upload it to our area. And for now, Sue, what is the status of ongoing domain authority? Is this the last webinar for now, or do we plan on having any surprise webinars in the future?
Surprises are always a possibility,
but right now,
to me.
But we have nothing planned at the moment. Let me just put it this way, guys.
We don't have anything planned at the moment.
How many of you guys would like us? Do I need to even ask? That's unfair for you guys. How many? Okay, the ones are coming. I haven't even asked the question, guys. Can I please ask the question? All right. So everybody already wants another webinar. Here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to lobby on your behalf. It may not be until after the Tech Foundation 1 training because we are solo and 2 version Tech Foundation 2 is launching as well, which is a lot of traffic tactics. But I'm going to lobby for another domain authority stacking bonus webinar in the upcoming months for you guys. And do keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on with the other courses. And I want to see you at the live certification event. All right, this has been Russell Wright, Sue Bell, Jimmy Kelly, Network Empire, domainauthoritystacking.com. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.